West Hollywood is one part actual place and one part state of mind. I think most of us understand West Hollywood as the place where people have moved consciously to invent their lives. They come here as adults, they think about why they want to be here, and then they become that. And West Hollywood has this long history of inventing the culture that other cities consume. It's 1.9 square miles. It has about 35,000 residents. It's mostly LGBT folks. 45% of the people are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. It's mostly men, the city. It has a population that's 80% working age people. It has about 4% kids. I think it's 487 children under the age of 5. I mean, we could almost know them by name. In the 1920s, Sherman, who was involved with the train and transit here in Southern California, founded West Hollywood as a service yard for the trains, and that was right behind us. It was managed by the sheriffs, so it wasn't the LAPD, which meant that gay people and drinkers and partiers and in some way other illegal activities found a home here in West Hollywood. It was sort of the last place of the Wild Wild West in Los Angeles County. In early 1983, the residents, who were mostly seniors and young people, got together and formed a coalition to form cityhood. And the vote was in November of 1984, and it passed overwhelmingly.
Every newspaper, by the way, said it was going to fail. And it did not. It succeeded beyond, this is a world-class city. And that's because we all know how to get along. That's what West Hollywood is actually really all about. It's about people who used to be marginalized, lifting each other up, empowering each other, and saying, how do we do that? By getting along.
We decided, I think within the first year of incorporation, that this was going to be a walkable place. That we were going to look at our city and continue to think of West Hollywood as a place that was walkable.
We are in Plummer Park, which is the main park on the east side of West Hollywood. And the most walkable part of the city is actually on the east side. Part of the reason that it's the most walkable part is that we learned, and this is how we became a walking city, we learned from our Russian community back in the 1980s. They came from walking cities. They did not have cars. They came from the Soviet bloc. So they had to have everything in small proximity. And they created that here in West Hollywood on the east side. We then took a look at what a success that was, and we replicated it on the west side.
I think if we start in the north, we start at the Sunset Strip. And everyone knows the Sunset Strip and its importance to the music culture and to the way in which billboards in America came to be. I mean, that's what the Sunset Strip brought us right from the 1940s with many of the clubs and nightclubs that were there through the 60s and the 70s with the whiskey. And inside there, this extraordinary stuff happens every night, night after night. And the Roxy and the Rainbow and the Troubadour. I mean, these are places where, you know, actual culture making happens and people are their authentic selves. Along Melrose, we have the Pacific Design Center as maybe the anchor or one of them in our design culture. That was built, the first piece, in the early 1970s. That changed the understanding of landscape and urban planning and urbanism in Los Angeles. Our city, right from the beginning, has been a place of interior design, architecture, urban planning. Many famous interior designers and architects have come through here, as well as art galleries and gallerists from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I think that that's the part of the culture making that our city is so famous for and so good at, is that we have a real sense of how to together collaborate to continually reinvent how it is we're seeing the world. We're standing here next to the city's library and council chambers. It's a very much well-loved library. I think it's the most popular library in the system. Along with the library, there are 3 murals here that were installed by Vanity Fair in 2011 as part of the Museum of Contemporary Art graffiti show. And one of them is by Kenny Scharf, one of them is by Shepard Fairey, and the third one is by Los Angelino retina. Those have been important statements for our city to make as well, because I think we're sort of trying to lean forward into becoming a place of art making again. And then on Santa Monica Boulevard, which is our longest street, almost 2 miles long, there's the LGBT side at the west. And then on the east end is where our historically Russian population has lived.
This is Mom and Pop Central. That's what you're right in the middle of. You've got great restaurants, you've got great stores, you've got one-of-a-kind stores. So when people want to come to West Hollywood, when they don't want to go to a chain retail store, they come to this side of West Hollywood. It's a little grittier, it's a little rougher. There's, pawn shops and porn shops. This is much quieter. It's much more neighborhood. This is where people come when they want to see what it is not to be a tourist, but to be a resident. It's right here. I think for the 90s and the early noughts, we went interior. We said we have computers and we can communicate without having to be in close proximity to human beings or to nature or to air. And I think that there's a backlash of that right now. What you have today are people saying we want to be outdoors. We want to be with people. We want open green spaces. We want to leave less of a carbon footprint. And the way to do that, the best way to do that actually is to have trees that help with that, to leave these beautiful trees where they stand. To build around it, to have open space where we can relax and not be in each other's space. And part of that comes from parks.
I think it would be hard for someone to come here and not experience West Hollywood as an actual transformational place. I mean, there is so much to do in so many ways, and it causes people to think about how they live in the world in a really extraordinary way. And I know that's why residents love it. Our residents, most of them don't go to the clubs, most of them don't go to hang out at the whiskey, most of them don't end up having a $60 steak every Tuesday. But we love living in the center of it, and that's where we are. And we walk around and we see people, and I think as a premier walkable place in Los Angeles County, that's in fact what we do best, is we tell people that if you come here, there's things that will change your life, and you can change your life as much as you want once you're here.